Well, this wasn't the video that I was planning on posting this week, but sometimes things just don't work out as planned. And maybe that's a good thing. Roll the intro. Hi guys, how are you? Just a quick sip of hot chocolate before we start. Cold chocolate, actually. It's like -7 out here, and this thing did not stay hot for long. But anyways, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. It is week 4 of my weekly growth series. So I've basically been doing this every week, where I just pop the camera out somewhere and talk about my life, share the wins, the challenges, the lessons that I'm learning as I kind of go through this life. So yeah, I'll start this video by saying this week has not gone as planned. Okay, pause. I want to draw your attention to this tiny distraction on my head that you may or may not have noticed, but typically this is where my perfectionist brain would just be telling me all the reasons why I can't post this video. It's not perfect, there's something wrong with it, so you may as well just not post it at all. Perfectionism is something that I have been dealing with for so long, so seeing this, although it's meaningless in the grand scheme of things, really set me back. So much of me wanted to spend the extra few hours masking every frame to make it look like this was never there. But is that the best use of my time? No. Definitely not. In the past, I would typically succumb to these thoughts. I would spend the extra hours and ultimately it wouldn't change the value of the end product, but I would do it anyways, you know? This year, perfectionism is something that I'm really trying to dial back. I'm really trying to lean into what's important. And maybe this was just a test, you know? Maybe this was the universe throwing something at me, just being like, hey man, this one's gonna annoy you, but don't worry about it because it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, me posting this video, I think, is proof that I passed the test, when typically in the past, I would have scrapped this whole thing. So yeah, if you also struggle with perfectionism, I just wanted to remind you to focus on the big picture, think about your message, think about the impact, the overall impact that you're making, and done is better than perfect. All right, let's jump back into it. Yeah, I had a bunch of different ideas for this week's YouTube video. I even asked my Instagram followers like what they would like to see. So I had a few options, which was 1, my journey into entrepreneurship, 2, my move out west from Ontario, which is something that I shared in the first video I did on here. And 3 was my story of like picking up a camera. Those were the 3 options, and almost 50% of my audience asked for me to share more about my move. So I was thinking about doing like a cinematic short film. And yeah, honestly, it just didn't really go as planned. I think it's just an idea that deserves more time and attention. And I was stressing for a little bit, trying to like write the script, figure out the shots, and I think I was just trying to force it. So on that note, I wanted to start this video with a few of the challenges from the week, which that being the main one, trying to force my creativity by trying to execute on an idea that deserves more time. So this idea of trying to force something to work, especially when it comes to being creative, I feel like a lot of the ideas, or a lot of my best ideas, come from spontaneity or just like experiencing the world, you know, watching a TV show, reading a book, going out into the mountains, getting inspired to create something, or an idea just kind of comes out that way. But I feel like I gave myself a time constraint here because I'm trying to do this series every week. I wanted to turn this idea around really quickly, and it just wasn't working. It ultimately created more stress than it should have, and this series is supposed to be fun for me. Sometimes creativity will spark, sometimes it won't. This time it didn't. The idea I think was strong, but I was trying to do too much in a little amount of time, and I'm just gonna push that one off. Hopefully I can make that one happen next week, but yeah, don't force your creativity. If you're not feeling it, give yourself a break. read a book, go watch a show, go for a hike, spend some time with friends, and then yeah, the creative juices will flow. So continuing along that train of thought, I wanted to share that although it's good to have goals, I think it's more important to have balance. And this goal of wanting to create a YouTube video every week has put my life sometimes a little bit out of balance because I'm trying to focus on generating new ideas all the time, scripting those ideas, executing those ideas. That was a big goal of trying to start this thing, was to just show myself that I can be disciplined and execute on things that I say I'm gonna do. So yeah, although I've been very good with actually executing YouTube, which has been great so far, and I've been loving the feedback that everybody has given me on these videos, it has thrown the balance out a little bit, you know? So that's another challenge that I've been facing, is just trying to balance creating, putting these YouTube videos out, but also kind of winding down. I find that another thing that I've been struggling with is that my brain won't shut off. So sometimes when I'm lying in bed, so much of my body is telling me that I'm tired, but my brain won't shut off. I'm constantly thinking about different ideas, and it's been contributing to poor sleeps, which then leads into fatigue during the day, and then it's harder to execute on some of the ideas that I think of. So, okay, so on that note, I figured I would just share a few more points. Let's call them lessons that I've learned this week. And one is that you should be creating passionately. You should not be creating desperately. This is something that I've found throughout this process, especially this week of trying to put this video together, is that it was kind of, I was putting it together out of desperation instead of out of passion. Like, it's a story that I really, really want to tell, and it just deserves more time than I'm giving it. So that's one thing that I would say, as well as the fact that if you're not having fun with it, then you're doing it wrong. This is something that I had to remind myself of this week. I fell into the trap of like needing to do things versus wanting to do things. And I think one of the biggest things that I've loved so much about doing YouTube is the fact that like it's re-inspired me creatively. Like I found that for years I was just creating for short form on Instagram, so vertical format. I had to condense my message into 30 seconds or less, or I was creating content for clients. You know, very rarely would I be putting together longer format pieces or creating content for myself. So that's one of the things that I've loved about YouTube so far, is that it just allows me to create for me and also to give value back to you guys. So yeah, I just kind of lost that a little bit this week. It just felt like I was creating more so out of a need versus a want, and yeah, I just had to check myself on that. Okay, so now let's dive into some of the wins, some of the things that went well this week. First one I'll say is that I've spent a lot of time outside this week, which has been great. Obviously, you guys know how much I love the outdoors. We did a hike earlier this week. We summited one of the local peaks. We were doing mostly photo stuff for clients, but it was beautiful to be up there. And obviously we're here now just kind of chilling by the river. I'm filming my YouTube video, and Colleen is also filming her first one, so that's exciting. But yeah, it's just nice to spend some time outside, and that has definitely been a win for the week. Second win, I will say that posting this video will be my 4th consecutive week posting on YouTube. And yeah, despite almost throwing in the towel because I was just kind of like fed up with that original idea that I shared not panning out, I was so close to just being like, let's just give it another week and just give myself a break. But I'm like, no, I'm trying to teach myself discipline. I'm trying to show myself that I can do this. So yeah, I would say that's also a win. Lastly, I'll leave you with something to ponder. And my question for this week is, if you could plan an ideal day, what would that look like? Are you living these days out already, or is there something that you need to change in order to make it real? So think about, in an ideal scenario, you have your dream job, you're in dream conditions, like what does your ideal day look like? For me, I would say it is waking up at around, let's say 8 a.m., doing some journaling, doing some reading, and then jumping right into a workout. I find that I'm most productive when I work out in the morning, and then 4 to 6 hours of deep work, no distractions, kind of just getting shit done, doing what I need to do. And then after dinner, I love doing like an evening walk. So Colleen and I will just walk by the river near our house sometimes, and that's always a good way to kind of like decompress. And then after that, I love watching TV shows, like before bed. I know it's not the best to like be on a screen too much before you sleep, but I love watching shows and I just love winding down that way. So right now we are almost finished Yellowstone, which is an incredible show. And yeah, I just love winding down with a nice TV show. It also gets me inspired creatively, which is great. And then finally, I would say right before bed, doing some more journaling and then calling it a day. So yeah, that's what my ideal day would look like. This is obviously assuming I'm not out in the mountains hiking, because that would be like, that is the most ideal for me. But yeah, on a typical work day, I would say that is my ideal day. But yeah, let me know what that looks like for you. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this video. It was not what I planned for the week, but I hope you still got a ton of value out of it. If you did, would obviously love to hear from you. Let me know what you'd like to see in future videos. If there's certain things around personal development, creative development, business that you'd like to see in a future video, I'm all ears. Drop those in the comments below, shoot me a DM, however you want to reach out. I would love to chat. And yeah, I think that's a wrap. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Ugh, it's so cold.